Hello everybody, AKTOYZ here up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and winter's finally letting up and we're getting some warmer weather, so I got a chance to get out and fly this thing a few times. I'd like to give a shout out to Arctic Wings RC in North Pole, Alaska for lending this to me to, basically just check it out, and I thought that was pretty damn cool. So I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to actually do a review on something that is not my own. I'm not usually sponsored by anybody on any of my videos or anything. It's just my true honest opinion. And I'm not going to break with that tradition with this. I'm going to tell you what I liked and what I didn't like about it. So I did like that somebody lent it to me to go play with. That's pretty damn cool. So anyway, this is the Horizon Hobby Convergence. It is VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. I do believe that I've seen this online, that this is also an E-flight airplane. So anyway, so just some basics here. You basically got, your motor in the back here for your hover, and you've got your motors here for forward flight, or they transition, for hover or forward flight. And you basically got your elevons or ailerons, what do you call them? No rudders. I don't like that. When you're in forward flight, I like to have an airplane with, with rudders. So let's get a quick rundown here. You basically got your little battery compartment here. I was flying this on a 3-cell, 2200 milliamp, 35C battery. And that's one of the first things I want to say, is that when you are in hover mode, and I first thought I maybe had the battery too far forward or too far backwards, because I was getting a lot of like nose drop, trying to transition into forward flight. I was doing a lot of this weird oscillating stuff, and the first flight, I'm not going to lie, the first flight I almost crashed this thing. This thing is a handful of a little booger. And like I said, this airplane was lent to me, but not with any paperwork or manuals, so I think I had a little bit more figuring out to do than most people. I was flying it on a Spectrum DX6i. The programming isn't overall complicated. The only thing that I figured out that I didn't like was this thing has something called stabilization mode, which sucks. If you're an experienced pilot and you're an experienced helicopter pilot or quadcopter pilot, you're not going to want to play with that, because I found that that's what was causing me to have so much problems with the oscillating and the nose up and the nose down thing. It just was really frustrating, but it does help you fly this thing a lot more stable when you just need to, hover around or whatever. But like I said, if you're an experienced pilot, this is definitely something that is up your alley. I would not try this if you are a new pilot, or, just even like you consider yourself a novice pilot. This might be a little too much to handle. Also, hovering around when you're running all 3 motors, it will eat this battery up. 2200 milliamp. 4 minutes, which is another thing that I found out and almost crashed it, is that when this thing hits like 12.5 volt, this thing automatically kicks into some kind of a safety mode where it automatically will kick out of forward flight and go into like a hover mode setting, and you'll sit there kind of dumbfounded like I was, going, did I hit the switch? Did I do something wrong? And by the way, I hooked mine up so that it was on my gear switch here on the side, and I fixed it so I could turn the stabilization mode off on this switch. I didn't even bother trying to mess with the transitional flight settings of, where you keep the props kind of like that, because I had a hard enough time figuring out all the other stuff. And like I said, it's not my plane, and I just wanted to, give it some flying time and kind of check it out. And overall, I'd have to say that this is a very, very neat airplane to have. It is definitely a kick in the pants if you are limited to not having a an airstrip to go fly off over some space, or just want to fly out of your backyard. fly, you know, in front of some friends or whatever, you can take this thing off in nothing and get up there. And I highly suggest have some altitude before you start transitioning into forward flight. And this thing is fast. It's small, it's white, and it's hard to see in the air, and it can get far, far away really quickly. This is a very quick airplane. It does handle pretty good at slower speeds. Little bit of wing tippy. If you get a high angle of attack on it, it is definitely going to get tippy on you like most jet designs. And all in all, my overall opinion of this RC toy is it's one of those toys that tries to do a few too many things. It does a lot, but not any of them well. It is not a great airplane. So once you get it into forward flight mode, you're flying around 30 seconds into it, you're like pretty bored. You're doing loops and rolls, and you know, it's not the greatest airplane to fly. And once you get into hover mode, it's got a pretty slow roll rate and not very much pitch. And you know, it's not your quadcopter. Definitely not an RC helicopter. And like I said, I didn't get a real good chance to play with it in transition mode. So all in all, you know, this might be your cup of tea out there that you would like to have, or not. You know, personally, I'm going to stick with my quadcopters for hovering around in the backyard, and I'm going to stick with my RC airplanes for going out and cranking and banking. So anyway, I just wanted to do a quick review on this so I can finally get it back to its owner, and I'm glad that I didn't crash it because I would have felt really bad. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. Fly safe, fly responsibly, and we will catch you next time.